Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the community live stream. This is the show that helps you be a more effective ServiceNow developer and or admin by giving you not only the answers to the questions in the community, but the insight, the thought process, the journey of discovery that goes on behind that. My name is Chuck Tomasi. I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie, coming to you at 6 a.m. my time, 1 p.m. UTC, whatever that is in your part of the world. Welcome and thank you for joining me. This is the 22nd, yes? Gotta double check. Never know what day it is. 22nd of February, 2019. Thank you for joining me. And I encourage you, if you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to that link that you see right there, and you will get all kinds of great notifications, alerts. Turn on those notifications. You'll find out not only when this show is available, but when other community content, then there's a lot of it, when that all comes out. Thank you for joining me. Click like if you find something in the next hour that is helpful, you've learned something, you find it mildly entertaining, whatever it happens to be. Click like so that other people know that it is there. And if you're watching this on the community, click the helpful link. Very much appreciated so that other people know that it's helpful. If you've got questions, community questions, whatnot, ask them in the community. We'll get to that in just a second. If you just want to give a shout out like Shane is doing, Carol says, hey, happy Friday, TGIF. Put that on your shoes. It stands for toes go in first. All right, got to start. Oh, can I do it? Got to start out with a little humor. Thought maybe that one was going by a little too fast. Good morning, Swaroop. Good morning, John. Everybody's checking in. I am really happy to see you all here. There are many, many people who watch this show live, and I truly, truly appreciate that. Many watch it after the fact. That is great, too. I do my best to respond to the comments on YouTube, do my best to respond to the comments on the community. So if you've got something, ask away live. As long as it's short and quick and simple, I'll do my best. If you've got a question about ServiceNow, you know what? I'm going to skip right over to it. Go to the community.servicenow.com. Make sure you put it in the right forum so that the right subject matter experts see it. If you've got a question on ITOM, something about discovery or event management, put it in that ITOM section so that the ITOM people can answer it. My specialty is in custom applications, integrations, and the platform in general. So that's typically the questions you'll see me dig into on this show. May involve scripting. If there is scripting, we'll have that up for you. Boy, we are just jumping all over the place, aren't we, today? We'll have that on the GitHub repo that you see there at the URL on the bottom, and post that to GitHub. I'll have a link in the show notes and on the YouTube discovery, the YouTube description that you see there. So back to the community. Where were we? My head's chopped off a little bit. What happened to my camera? There we go. Don't want the microphone in the picture. Somebody must have bumped the mic stand. Fix that up. Get that fixed up like that. There we go. Back to the main screen, community.servicenow.com. Get your questions in there, and we'll try to get those fixed up for you. Good morning, Carolyn Ramsworth. Sanjay says hi. Never heard the TGIF thing before, I guess. Where else are we going? We've done that. The developer community, I encourage you to go over to developer.servicenow.com. Looks a whole lot like this. It's been rebranded. We got the green colors on there finally. So I can do my screenshots for the developer program video, the desk side chat that I did with Darius. A little over a month ago. We can finally put final production on that and get that out to you as soon as possible. So looking forward to seeing that. We wanted to get that with the new logo and whatnot, and we were just waiting for the branding. It happened last night because I checked late last night. It says, look like we're still sporting the black and red, and they changed it this morning. So, woohoo! We're up and running with the new colors. I'll get some navigation screenshots and send those over to our video team, and they can do the hard work. As if today wasn't busy enough. Developer.servicenow.com is where you'll find your free personal developer instance. You get all the scripting APIs, free learning plans, great way to take your career from admin to developer or developer on another platform to developer on ServiceNow. And great blog content from Andrew and Dave, Ben and Mary Ellen. The whole team over there is cranking away to get you that information. Look for more Madrid articles. to come. In fact, under the blog, let's see what the latest is. Don't know if it's still about ATF. No, we've got a new one here on Virtual Agent. Virtual Agent has my biggest favorite feature. I'm giving you sneak peeks into next week's Tech Now that we'll get to in just a sec. Is the condition builder. We first release had a bit of scripting in it. Every decision tree that you went down had a script, and that was annoying. I said, why don't we do this with the condition builder? Probably just didn't make it for the initial release in London. Now, condition builder shows up in a lot more places. You can still use script if you got it. It's not going away. Kind of like business rules. But the condition builder makes it very easy. Drag data pills in there, that kind of thing. Oh, look, the banner's still wrong on that page. Wow. We got to work on that. The blog still has the wrong banner. Makes me wonder about the other pages. Events looks good. Share? How's share look? Share home? Share look good. These are all doing within a frame. I'm just messing around. Manage looks good. Program looks good. There's still some black and red hanging out here, but the blog, interesting. Blog page needs help. So head over to developer.servicenow.com, explore, find out if we missed any other logos. Good morning, Manny. Good morning, Steve. No notification. I got a notification today. I got my daughter showed me how to take my Android phone and use IFTTT, if this then that, to get the Earth porn photo of the day automatically put on the phone. That was pretty cool. I like that one. So now my wallpaper on my phone changes on a regular basis, and they are beautiful shots. A lot of them this time of year are snow. I'm not really interested in seeing snow, but it's good. It also makes it kind of weird to read the clock if the sky is gray and the clock font is white. I did notice that it does change. So little tip for you there. Knowledge, as it says right there on the screen, Knowledge is coming up May 5th through 9th in Las Vegas. Don't forget to register for that. And if you are registered, click that checkbox that says, I want to go to CreatorCon. It's totally free. It gets you into all the developer sessions and the workshops that go along with that. So you won't be booted out and say, hey, you didn't sign up for CreatorCon. Simple checkbox, register for CreatorCon, get on that list, and get that content. Let's get the developer portal thingy off of the screen. On that screen, there we go. Once again, wrong keyboard. One is white and one is black. You should be able to tell. The black stuff drives the video. See? Dark keyboard. Light keyboard. Should be able to figure this out by this time. 173 shows later, it's just not clicking. The Tech Now episode coming up for... Where is it? I made my head go away. That's Knowledge. Yep. Workshop. There we go. Workshop coming up Tuesday, the 26th, all about the Madrid platform features. Hope to see you there. Sign up at the bit.ly link. We're going to cover more than just the virtual agent stuff that I just talked about. There is a ton of stuff. It's going to be tough to cram this all into an hour, and I look forward to seeing you all there. Are we done yet? I did Knowledge, the webinar, meetups. We can talk about meetups if we want. Meetups over at the developer portal. You can also find those. Let's see. Get my little head there. Get the screen back on. Or you can go over to Meetup. Get the subtitle in there. In case you knew, hey, I'm doing this out of order. I don't know what's going on today. I had a blast last year with CreatorCon, a bunch of great content, and I learned tons. Thank you for the testimonial, Steve. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, meetups, developer meetups, you've got them all over the place. Great community. Great community. Get together with other developers, talk about ServiceNow stuff. What are your challenges? What are you working on? What are other people working on? And kind of like this in some sense. I suspect in the next few weeks, a lot of the chapters will be talking about the Madrid platform features and how they can leverage those. So, look for that. Let's get back to the main screen. I think it's time to actually get to work. Put the lower thirds away. Do a refresh on the screen. Totally unscripted to go into the community, see what's new, see what I can dive into, where we can go. And apparently I got logged out. I was logged in a minute ago. I double checked. Come on. So, single sign-on. I almost said self-service. All right. We do have a couple things in the inbox. You know what? Let's start with that. follow-up conversations from yesterday, probably. And where are they? Where are they? Got a marked helpful. You can always mark articles helpful. When you see something that is helpful, just check that helpful link at the bottom. See what's going on here. How to enable this is an old article from 3 years ago, but it doesn't hurt. People still find a reference. There's a little thumbs up, mark it helpful, give somebody some love. Enforce account expiration at 45 days. Conversation that's been going on. This gentleman, Ian, is walking Heidi through Flow Designer. And I did notice this on the update record option. I want to show you something. This is a little different, and I don't know why. I don't have a really good answer for this. Now let's go to Global and look at Flow Designer. This is how I pick my topics, randomly by the content on the community. See what happens. Go to Flow Designer. Flow Designer is our next generation of workflow. Very easy to build and create things. I am going to go to my good old CLS demo. It's probably in the other scope. I didn't even bother to check. Is it? CLS demo is in Global. Okay, good. I get to get away with it this time. So go over to this demo. Create a trigger. Let's say every time an incident is updated, we will trigger this flow. Done. And down here on the actions, we pick these actions from what we call spokes. These are just collections of things you can put on your flow. And one of them in ServiceNow Core is update record. And if I take the trigger record, drag that down there, it will automatically fill in the table. And I can say, what do you want to update? Now notice this. If you pick a true false, unlike the, say, business rules where you're setting field values, this is a field type, business rule under system definition. I'm just going to show you the traditional way of setting field value pairs. When you're setting, I should have done this part first. Do the same kind of thing. Incident, table, and it knows what fields. I can say when to run, when it's inserted, updated, and state is on hold, whatever. Then I have these actions. And over here I can say set active to true or false. And in other places, the to doesn't really come into play. It just says set active false, maybe on a template, right? You've seen that before. This one is rendered as a checkbox. So this is true, this is false. If I pick other fields like the actual start, I get a date picker. Okay, makes sense. Or the data pill picker. Now, the tricky thing, what happens if you pick a data pill on here? How does it represent that? If I go trigger record, incident, active. Oh, okay, it just throws that in over the checkbox. But watch for that because it's very subtle that this checkbox is here on true false fields. I thought that was interesting. So Flow Designer, a little different on the UI. Notice that a couple of times, thought I'd point that one out. There you go. I didn't really have a comment on that, but we'll put that in and I'll forget that I talked about it. So let's also start with Flow Designer, true, false fields. Okay. Wanted to also talk about this one that came up. Comment on a 3-year-old article, 2-year-old article, how to access embedded lists from workflow. And I told myself that I would respond to this because a reply came in. Somebody said, hey, I've got, let me find those 2 images. They've got the computer record in the CMDB, and they've got the hardware model. And the computers are an embedded list in the hardware model. Let me download those pictures for you and show them to you. I know they're safe because I already downloaded them on a different computer. And, oh, I didn't really want to say that, did I? Always, well, I suppose on this computer I do want to open PNGs. Let's open that one up. Let's open that one up. just to show you what we're looking at, a couple of different forms. An embedded list is much like a related list, only it is made part of the form. So here we have the hardware class, and it has an embedded list of configuration items. Boom, boom, boom. They want access to these. It is on its own tab, which is fine. And then each computer, of course, looks like a computer record. Blow that up so you can see it. Nothing fancy there. So how do we get that information via script was the question. How can I get the CI of embedded list in order to match the records? So this is a very straightforward question. I'm going to go over to the editor, create a new, get rid of that. Go back here, close that. Here. And we want to start with whatever that hardware was. Is that ALM hardware? I think it is. I'm not going to close Flow Designer. I didn't want to save that. I think it's ALM hardware for asset management. And I don't know if they made the embedded list or somebody else did. Let's check one of these. It could be that they did. I don't know if it's that hardware or CMDB CI hardware. Yeah, it could be either one. There's two different hardware tables. And I couldn't tell from the picture. Could you? Hardware, Lenovo ThinkStation S20, manufacturer name. This looks like CMDB CI, General Information Compatibility Substitutes Product Catalog. Yeah, maybe? Anybody? Bueller? Let's find out. This is CMDB CI hardware. Model, serial number, configuration. There's only one section in here. I honestly can't tell you, but I'll put that in as a caveat. Oh, let's go back to my editor. And getting the related records is actually pretty easy. If you know what the current record is, you get the SysID to get the other ones. Because the embedded list acts as a related list. There's got to be a reference on that other record that points it to that hardware record. They wouldn't be on that list if they weren't related in some way. So we're going to take advantage of that relationship. And I'm just going to say var current ID equals current.getUniqueValue. We talked about that the other day. Just get the SysID of the current record. Here. Get the SysID. We'll put that in comments. SysID of the current record. Then we can go through the other table, go through the related table records, and get all records that point to the current record. Now the question is, what is that related field? I don't know, so I'm going to put a note in here that says, you tell me. But the process is pretty much the same thing. Let's get related record equals new Glide record. I'm going to go under the assumption that they are on the CMDB CI hardware table. Hardware table. Come on. Then add to that the query where all the parent records, I don't know what the relationship is, but there is a field on there that points to some other CI. I don't even know if that has a parent field, but we're going to assume it does. The current ID. So if there's a parent reference field to this table, I can get at it this way. Get all the records that have this as the parent. That's really it. May need to add something else that says just get the active ones, but I didn't see any filter on there. We can then submit the query, and then while gr.next, that just says for each record you find, go do this loop, do something here. Update the record, put it in an array, whatever you need to do. So this is an example. Let's get back to the browser. Respond to that comment, respond to that comment, and say it's pretty much, make that a little bigger so you can read it at home. Pretty much a standard glide record query. You will need, come on fingers, keep up. Need a script, something like this. Note, you need to modify the table and field in the add query line for your situation. I couldn't tell exactly which tables slash. Oh, you know what? All we need to do is it was related to CMDB CI. We don't need that part. We need that. We're involved from your picks. And then I'll put in my code bits here. Save that. And save that. And save that. Off to today's folder. What did I say today was? 22nd? 2019 0222. That'll show up on GitHub shortly after this show is done. We'll call this get related CIs.js. Ding, and it colors it full. There we are. Simple glide record query. Manny asks, is it possible to import jar for Microsoft Azure and write Java code to get OAuth token? As a target system can only native app with service account, we are not able to use ServiceNow OAuth registry. Don't know. You can't. That, as far as I know, you can't import a jar file. That would be a security issue because you don't know what's in that jar file and use it on the instance. But I do know that you can set up ServiceNow as an OAuth, what do they call it? Token registry, token provisioning. Let me see. OAuth. You can do an OAuth registry, new, and say that I want to be the endpoint for external clients. Yeah, because I think normally if I were going to go out to say LinkedIn and I need an OAuth, I'd do this one, the third-party OAuth provider. But I think that first one, to create the endpoint for clients, allows you to create the OAuth tokens for third-party applications. I think that's what you're looking for. Again, I'm not the expert on OAuth by any stretch of the imagination, so I encourage you to do some research. We need to connect to third party. So your ServiceNow is connecting to a third-party application, like LinkedIn, YouTube, something like that, for example. If that's the case, then yes, you could definitely do that. You would use their OAuth authorization and authentication process to get a token, and then ServiceNow hangs on to that and uses that for subsequent connections. That's completely doable. Go to the ServiceNow Dev Program YouTube channel. So YouTube, ServiceNow Dev Program, or just look for ServiceNow Dev Program. And there are a number of videos in here that have been done on Live Coding Happy Hour around OAuth. If you search for OAuth, you will come up with a handful of them. Live Coding Happy Hour, we did this. Look for the ones with Josh Narius. He's really smart. He can help you out with that. So that's where I would recommend you go for that. Back to the inbox. Looks like we have a conversation that's still hanging on. We did that. And I'm going to throw that note in there just so I don't forget. We did how to access that from that. And OAuth live question. I don't normally answer them live, but hey, since we're here, it was a short one and I can reference that. The other stuff, I got lots of other stuff that I want to talk about. We went to the inbox. What did we have? Do we still have one? Why do I still see one and I don't see a blue dot? There it is. We've already been doing that. I think every once in a while the inbox page gets a little funky and it doesn't update what's been read. Just refresh the page, it's fine. I got to talk to the community developers about that. Okay. 25 past the hour. I was getting to the first question. Reference qualifier on dictionary override. That's a good question. I need to add a reference qualifier to list only assignment type groups for assignment group on a change record. In the dictionary override of change requests, I found that type equals assignment didn't work, but rather type like blah, blah, blah. Is that to be expected? Yes. Is that an is dynamic? No. Type like. That's expected because type is a reference field. When you use a reference field, you must supply a sysid. A more optimal way to do this would be type equals whatever your sysid is, because like does a wildcard search in the database, and equals does an exact match. Searches are more expensive than exact matches. Since you already know the exact sysid, then did I make that bigger again to 150? No, yeah. Then use the equals operator. I want to launch into a 25-minute thing about reference fields and display values, but I'm not going to right now. We've heard that before. If you haven't, I'm going to point you to a video. There we are. Did somebody else post something? Nope, there's only one reply. Okay. Thought maybe somebody was posting while I was posting. That happens. You can get live updates on the community. I'm going to do a page refresh. I feel like I've been sitting there a while. Unreplied. The feedback management module, that's a customer service thing. If I skip over something, it's not because I don't like it. It's because it's not my area of expertise. I may go in and explore. I may even subscribe to the question to find out more information. But it's not that I can't. I want to make sure that I'm giving you valuable information on this rather than reading doc pages to you, if at all possible. Any plugin available for creating docx file. Ooh, not that I know, but I'd like to stay subscribed to that one to find out. We can check real quick, but I don't think so. Let's go to plugins, and if you remember, go to plugins on Madrid, it will now take you to the unified installer page, which includes plugins, which includes a lot of other stuff. It's one nice place to do your installation of your applications from your app repo. Things from the store, you can check from the store, whether it's free or paid, it will tell you. So, docx, no. ServiceNow document viewer, that's not there. If you really, really want to get to the plugins page, you can click here, or if you notice, if you watch closely in the URL, oh, it doesn't say it. Yeah, it does. v_plugin list. You could also just type that and put that there. And of course, once you've got that, you could always just drag it over to your favorites, and there's v_plugin. So I don't think there's one in here. Employee doc management, knowledge management, live feed, manage documents. Nope. Not there. Kind of surprised. Document viewer, I thought was on in Madrid. Any plugin for creating a docx file script include which should have generate docx. The other place to check, let's go check the share portal. That is under here. Ooh, they didn't change the fav icon either. Let's go to share, home, search, docx. Nothing. Okay. How about the store? Store.servicenow.com. I do not reference that all that often on this show. My browser doesn't even remember. Oh, I mentioned the universal installer. We could have looked there. Crazy boy. Let's go back to the system applications, all find in store. Nice little button up there. Takes you right to the store. And I thought somebody had one. Jamf Discovery and Signature Document Exporter. Export data from any table into Word. Ah, looks promising. It's paid, but you can request a trial. It's been tested through London. I'll copy that link. Script include, like example PDF generator plugin. We have docx plugin. Thanks. Hi, Vishal. You might find this interesting on the store. Ooh, that was terrible. Really? That's all we get for a link? That's share. Where did the store one go? There it is. I want to make sure that I don't want to share with Facebook. Share app. Don't want to tweet this. Is that link going to get me to that page? Verify your links, kids. Yes. Okay, it will. So now that I know that, I can edit the link and change it from ServiceNow Store to Document Exporter. I think that's what it was called, right? We'll go with that. Open that in a new window. Done and done. And paste. A little bit of exploration. The store paid off. I think there's about 400 applications out there now. So don't forget to look in the store. Next, refresh the list. Go to unreplied. See what we can find. There's one in the inbox waiting for us. I'm really tempted to go to the inbox. Wait for it. Feedback module. I need to create a dependency between two fields in Record Producer. This is a common question. This is why I always recommend that people search first. I need to create a dependency between two fields in Record Producer category and subcategory, and I'm not using a client catalog script. As there are so many choices, the code will be lengthy. What is the workaround? I have mapped all those fields in a table, so the choices are showing fine, but the dependency I need to add. You could use a lookup table. I've done this before. Now I have to remember where I did this before. So let's go to community. Yeah, I agree. You do want to use a catalog client script, okay? Because you have to get that on change. Okay. You do need to use a catalog client script to do to detect the on change event of the category. Then refresh the subcategory. I think I know where I did this. It was in TechNow episode 23 or 33. bit.ly/ServiceNow-TechNow. And if I go there to episode 33, don't ask me why I remember these crazy things. I just do. 33 was about Glide Ajax, and I talked about passing complex data items back. So simple demonstration of Glide Ajax and TechNow. I even made a GitHub repo. How about that? There is, I'm going to really go brute force on this. Somewhere in here is the client script, and I should have a script include in here too. Dictionary, documentation, metalink. Those are sysscript client, sysscript include. So the client script, yes, I'm reading client script through XML off of GitHub. This is pretty hardcore. But I am setting up, get the states, and I think I was changing something on state. And then populating the object list. Okay. So that's one piece of it. That was the sys client script. And then the script include went and did state map table, intertable. It would get a bunch of states to look up one thing based on the other and pass back the value, the label, and whether it was selected. So I think it was just, it was based on which state, what other states do I have? That's what it was. But it was the ability to pass back a complex set of data. Let me give them a reference to that. Did I just close that? I really did, didn't I? Rerun that. But fortunately, there's a video that walks you through it, and the concepts are the same. So, copy that. Copy this link with HTML involved, and the client script will use a glide AJAX call to a script include that can do a lookup for you. Look up for you. Once it gets the results back, it populates the subcategory list accordingly. I have a similar example on episode 33 of Tech Now. One of the advantages of doing lots of content is there's lots of things to reference, and I can remember them all. Built-in tutorial. How's that? That one deserves a big Mario coin. Do a quick refresh on this. I think we've got a conversation that's running. Reference qualifier and dictionary override. Encore responded back, "Hi Eileen, this is because the type of field in group table is reference." That's what I said, not a string. Hence you need to give that. Yep. By the way, if you're doing this kind of thing, mark correct. Don't need to do that. They get a reminder if it's not marked correct after a time. Says, hey, is this still open or has it been resolved? So this just kind of gets in the way and it makes it look like you're panhandling. Like, please give me money. No, we're not going to do that here. We're above that, right? Might work on other communities. If I don't get a response, I think I still have a macro in there that says, hey, if this has been answered, then why not mark it correct? But that's after a time when they say, oh, thanks, it worked for me. Great. If you say it worked for you, but you didn't mark it correct, then maybe, a tap on the shoulder is nice. But we don't need that at the bottom of everyone. Oh, I think she just marked this correct. She marked something correct. That's the same question. There we go. With my even better suggestion. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that's in discussion. Notification for expiring knowledge article. Ooh. It's a good example of Flow Designer, although they did use a script. Hi, I would like to send an automatic message to an author 14 days before his article expires. That's why I made the scriptless schedule jobs. Already found a script, but don't really know how to use it and what event to create. Are there other methods to solve this? The best way to handle this is something you would add this script to a scheduled job, system definition scheduled job. You would need to create an event under the system policy register. Brian Lancaster is very correct in this. A script is pretty straightforward. You need to create it. I am going to offer two scriptless options. One is a scriptless, an update set I created to allow you to do just this with a scheduled job and no script. I believe it was there. The other is to use Flow Designer, which allows you to run scheduled jobs and look up records, then send notifications without generating an event. Of the two, I suggest the latter. All right, let me get a link for Flow Designer real quick. Product documentation, Madrid. Flow Designer. Flow Designer. Sounds like there ought to be a song in there somewhere. And do we get a result? Are we waiting? Are we waiting? Search. API access, controlling user access to Flow Designer. Administrators can grant access to Flow. No, that's not what we want. Let's just get the top level page. Thank you very much. Copy link, HTML. There we go. Another one. Cranking away. I noticed the activity history was broken yesterday on the community. It's very bizarre. If you go into the profile, I think I showed you this because I use this in my post-production all the time. Under your profile, there's activity, and it did not register anything that I was doing. There's the one that I did recently on create dependency. There's any plugin available for doc file. Probably hasn't registered the one that we just replied to. But these were not in there, and it made creating the show notes a bit of a pain yesterday. All right. 20 minutes to, what else do we have? We have, want to talk about interpreting URI characters. Somebody had posted an article or a response to this, and I thought that's a good little sideline topic that we could talk about. And then maybe we'll get to images and sound in Service Portal. So when you're in ServiceNow and you start seeing crazy things like the URL, let me get you a really nice example. Go to, very easily, maybe the hardware table and open up a record. Okay. The URL for this thing gets really crazy long. And in there, especially if you are trying to create a UI action or a construct, let's take this apart. Obviously, the first part we have, I'm going to break this down by line. There's that. There's that. And then there's the rest. Okay, so we have our instance name. Very easy to figure that out. We have this first page that says nav_2.do. That's what sets up this interface. Without that, we would get something more like this. Okay, without specifying nav2_do, if the first argument is a record, cmdbci under computer.do, we get a full page interface. You can also get that just by doing a command or an alt or a shift or whatever the keyboard sequence is in your operating system to bring that out into a full form. Very handy, especially if you want to bring out a list of records. You may not always want nav2_do. You may not always want this, especially for demos. It can be helpful. Okay, so that's what nav2_do. It says, here is a page, and where I want you to go in that embedded content section, what is going to show up in here, in this section, is specified by this URL. And you get this crazy encoded stuff. And there's a lot of it in here, but we'll take it apart. I see a %2f, cmdbci computer.do, %3f, there's a %26. What in the world are those? Well, there are certain characters as part of a URI, Universal Reference Indicator? Uniform. I'm trying to remember what URL is, Uniform Reference Locator. URI is slightly different, but I always find it easy to just search Google for ASCII codes hex. And somewhere in here you're going to find an ASCII table with stuff in it. Now, if you look in the hex column, which is the second one here, and we saw a %2f. Right there, I can see, this is an image, I apologize, which means I can make it bigger. Yay! And I can get rid of some ads. %2f is the /. So what that's telling me is, this really says, go to /cmdb ci and then I've got %3f. Well, there's only about 3 or 4 characters that you really need to keep in mind. If I scroll down a little further, I get 3f is a question mark. That says when you get there, this has a relate. Now, the reason this doesn't say / here is because it would conflict with the leading / here. Actually, this, if I want to be technically accurate, should go like that. So this has its own, the URL has its own slash and question mark and ampersand and that notation already built in. And if we didn't encode the second part, it would get confused as to, wait a minute, does this parameter go with nav2.do or does it go with the CMDBCI hardware? I'm confused where this goes. So %3f is a question mark, and then the last one we see over here is a %26, which is up here, and that is an ampersand. So somewhere in here we say 3f. Oh, there's also a 3D. Forgot 3D. This gets us out to here. And 3D is an equals. That's an easy one because everything's in 3D these days. I don't know. It's just my mnemonic for remembering something stupid. Then it gets to %326, %3D, blah, 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 blah. And it goes on and on like that. Let's see if I can do this without hitting the end of the line. CMDBC hardware. That next part, it just goes on with %3Ds and 26s. 26 is an ampersand. %3D is an equal. You can see this is starting to make a little more sense, but it has to be encoded that way so that it doesn't get confused. The format is question mark says this is where the parameters begin. Ampersand is here's another parameter, and I'll see an ampersand. Here's another parameter. All of the subsequent ones are joined together by ampersands. So it's this is the first one. sysid is, and if it just ended there, that would be fine too. Say, go open this record that way. So now when you see these URIs, don't get too wound around the axle of, wait a minute, what's going on? It's always 3 characters, %3f, %2f, %36, that kind of stuff. And those just translate back into a standard slash, question mark, equals, ampersand. Those 4, very handy to know. Anything else that could be in there, you may see a plus from time to time. Plus is a space. You may also see it represented as %20. Spaces do need to be denoted that way. So there's %20 at the very top of this second column. They're out there occasionally. And you may see other records. But if you don't recognize something, you can always go look up an ASCII chart and find that out that way. So that is how you can decipher the magic that is a ServiceNow URI. Actually, any URI will probably have that somewhere in there, I suspect. So very, very handy to do that. Did I have other notes that I wanted to cover? Yes, the audio and video in Service Portal. We've got about 10 minutes. So guess where we're going? We're going back to Jeopardy land because that's where I came up with this idea. The Jeopardy application that I'm writing for Knowledge 2019 in a whole 71 days, I think it is now. I'm scaring myself. The anxiety level's going up. Looking at 71 days. Ow. Here it comes. Get ready. The heat is getting hotter. So I think I mentioned this. I created a Jeopardy game. And Geoparty. In there I have my games. And when you click a game and say, open the board, somewhere in there is going to be the Daily Double. Apologize for blowing your ears out there. But it does 2 things. It plays a sound and it loads an image. How did I get those in there? Image. You can pretty much figure out is going to be an image tag in HTML. Let's take a look at the widget. So the widget, going to go to the Service Portal. I don't know why I have a hardware catalog item in there. I must have been doing something for you a couple weeks ago. Go into the hardware, the Service Portal widget editor, and look at the Jeopardy card. Probably the most complex widget I have in this whole application because it had a lot of exception stuff. And if I look at the HTML template, down here it says, there's the player table, because divs get really confusing really fast, I like to put comment characters. HTML comments are angle bracket, question mark, or exclamation point, dash, dash, and then they end with a dash, dash, close angle bracket. And then I put these down here to say this is the end of my player rows, because the player rows started up here, and this is the end of my player table body, and this is the end of... Very easy to figure out. So that's the players. Then we get the actual card. And there's my secret answer row. In here, I have a div that says if, if daily double equals true, then I'm going to wait for them to click this div section. And in there, I have two things. One is my daily double JPEG, which is easily uploaded to images, System UI images, which is down here on the bottom. And somewhere in here, I have a daily double image. There's the image. You create a new record, upload the image, give it a name, away we go. And it tells you, if you want to reference this, you will reference it with this tag. It even gives you a little code snippet here. And I said daily double JPEG with 1600. I just said width is 100%. And then it scales it accordingly to what it can fit in that section. If I said 1600, it may actually be too big and get pushed off the screen. Didn't want to do that. So image tags through that method are pretty simple. I'm going to show you another method for doing image tags in a second. The audio is, because we're using HTML5, I took full advantage of this. There is a built-in HTML5 audio player. I don't need any controls. I don't need to pause. So I said control equals false. If you look in the reference, it just says control is the attribute, but that doesn't tell me how to turn it off. It just says, hey, I want controls. Maybe leaving control off. It wasn't very explicit when it's on and when it's off, so I said control equals false, and it worked out much better. Autoplay is true. I definitely want to. That would be kind of annoying if the picture came up. Maybe that's what you want for your Jeopardy application, is don't play it until somebody clicks that thing. But in true fashion of Jeopardy, as soon as you see that image, you hear the sound, you know what's up. And I use the source as the MP3. Where'd the MP3 come from? Well, what I found out, I don't know when this appeared, it's definitely in London, it's very much in Madrid, is there is an audio files, under System UI, audio files. There's only one there by default, and that is the connect alert. So when you get a connect message, I suspect this is why it's there, so we could put audio files in there. And I uploaded a daily double MP3. Found a sound on YouTube, extracted it to a WAV file, edited it because it was 16 seconds long for a 2-second audio. So I trimmed it up so that it was only 2 seconds of audio, made the file much smaller, and then uploaded the MP3. Very easy to do with Audacity, as Audacity is free audio software. If you want more tips on audio editing, I can talk for another hour on that. But upload that same way you do the images. It has a built-in audio player. Give it a name, upload the file, you're good to go, and then you can reference it same way. So I just followed an example that was already there. I gave it a title. I didn't really need to do that, and the controls. When that widget appears, if the data model on the data object on this widget says this is a daily double card, it will play that image. It will display the image and play the sound and wait for the click. The reason I want to wait for the click is because they have to enter their bid. How much do you want to wager that you'll get this right? And then, of course, click, there's the question, and away we go. The other one, see if I can find one really quick. I think it is this one, is displaying images this way. This image is not uploaded to the images. It's displayed with the card. So in the data record for the cards, let's go back to my Jeopardy app. I have an attachment. I don't even remember which one that was. We were looking at fossil record, game 1. I can trim this down real fast. So game equals game 1. And that didn't work because it's game space 1. There's my cards for game 1. Fossil record show matching. I have 5 of them, and this was the one that had category 5. On this card record, I uploaded an image. I attached an image in a standard way we attach images to any other record. Now, I put an annotation in here. Don't forget, this is Jeopardy. The answer comes first. It is the interface depicted in this image. And notice there's no text on here, which is why I came up with the way to display the question and answer for the host on a mobile widget, which I'm going to build into the new mobile app. Currently, it's using the classic mobile app. So the host can read the question. I don't want the text of the question on the screen. It screws up the formatting. So how do you do this with an image tag based off of the attachment here? Well, if you've ever gone to sysattachment, you're going to need to bring along the sysid. So the table where those are stored, many of you know this already. I go to sysattachment.list, and well, look, there it is right at the top. It gives you the table name, which is X under S and C Jeopardy card. And this one is nice because it gives you the file name. Sometimes it doesn't, it just says image. But I could also look for the sysid record. So on this table, this record contains this attachment. And just to verify that is what we're looking at, it is in fact this record. The challenge is you can't just reference it as UI11.png. That's a bit of a problem. So what I do is go over to the server script, and when I say get the data for the card out of my script include, I'm going to jump back to, did I have Service Portal open? I did have Service Portal. That was lucky. Didn't plan to go here. Script include util, and I get the information for that card. I pass it a sysid, say I am looking at this particular card, and I get the sysid. Then let's blow this up so we can see it a little better. Collapse that so we can see it even a little better. Get the card list. Where's my get card method? Card amount, get card. Here it is. It says I give you this sysid. Go to the card table, get that record, and make me a card object. Okay, what's make card object? It's down here. It says, based on this glide record that you got, pull out these various attributes and stick them in this object for me. And one of them is, do you have an attachment? If it does, then I call get card image, which is down here. Go to the attachment table. Find the record on the sysattachment table that matches the card table, very much easily hard-coded, and the sysid of this card. What if there's multiples? Well, there shouldn't be, because I get to make the rules on this application. If there's multiple attachments, you're going to get the first one, whatever that happens to be, and return it as a file name. Now, the file name isn't .png or .jpg. It's .iix. Don't know why, don't know how, don't care. It works. So I return sysid of that record, of this record. So I get the end result is going to be, let's play along with my little scratch pad down here, .iix. That is the image that I can display. Once I've got that in the object, then the widget simply says, okay, you've got the card. You know that if there is an attachment, then, if the attachment is blank, show the text. If the attachment is not blank, then I'm going to show the image tag using source equals sysid.iix. That's what comes out, and that's why the image is displayed there. So if you are looking to display an image from an attachment, you need the sysid of that attachment record, and then use that in the source tag of the image. If you're using one from the images table under System UI, you could just reference it as something.png. It's part of the system. It's globally available. It's just there for you to pick and choose. But if it's on an attachment record, it's what I call transactional data. It's not part of the application in the images table. It's part of the data that application manages. You're going to have to do a little lookup. It's not very difficult. You need the sysid of the record it's attached to, and the table name of the record. You can get that, and then you can display that. Pretty easy stuff when you get down to the end of it. So that brings us to the top of the hour. I'm surprised I don't hear all kinds of alerts and bells going off on my phone that have been queued up. I have enjoyed this very, very much. Look forward to talking to you next week. If I'm home, if I'm healthy, I'll be here. Remember to click like on the video if you found something that's useful, entertaining. Maybe you can take it to work. Maybe you just want to bookmark this for reference later. That's fine with me. See you back here next time. Until then, do what it says on the next screen. Go out and learn something, share it, and you will be helpful. Till then, take care. Bye.